Kia ora team, and welcome to episode 10. Double digits, bro.
How good?
Episode 10 of Yarns with Beef and Matt, powered by LSKD. I'm Beef.
I'm Matt. And today we have the two guys behind the Down Under champs over in Aussie, Mr. Rob Forte and Andreas Gloor. How are we, boys?
Very well.
Hey guys,
Awesome.
great to be here.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on, man. We're doing a bit of an event series. So we've had on a couple of New Zealand ones, so we thought we'd get the Aussies on board. Kicking off with a big one. Before we get too involved in the competition, we want a bit of a background on you two gentlemen, seeing as you don't, well, Rob gets a bit of screen time, but Andreas doesn't.
Yeah.
So,
He doesn't need much introduction.
nah, not at all.
He's got a resume that's pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Me, look, I come from used to be a professional snow skier back in the day when I was younger and the body felt good, and then fell into the sports marketing realm about 15, 20 years ago. I was the head of sports marketing for Reebok for Asia Pacific, so looked after the whole program. That's where I met a lot of the people in the CrossFit space. And then 2020, Rob and I went and ventured off and did our own thing. And then, fast forward to 12 months ago, and we were presented this opportunity with Down Under Champs. And, our other two directors, Mel Robinson and Scott Williamson, also involved. And yeah, we, live a pretty good life, put on some good events, work with some really good people. I'm also in the athlete management space as well. So I manage the likes of, Jay Crouch and a couple of Kiwis too, Gabby Napper and Abby Osborne, a couple of up-and-comers that are coming through.
How good.
A lot of talent. You guys got some talent.
Yeah. Abby was a member
And now
my
I'll
gym.
let Rob.
when
Oh, nice.
she quit BMX when 15, 16, she walked in my gym. And I think she was 17 when she headed off to East Tamaki, and she's crushing it, man. What an athlete.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're really good. There's some talent, those girls. They're really, really good.
How good. And Mr. Forte, like I said, doesn't need much of an intro, but give us a bit of background on yourself there, mate.
Yeah. So I started, I'll go pretty far back.
Yeah, man.
When I left school, I did my carpentry apprenticeship. So I've got some skills on the tools, in case you didn't know that.
How good.
And then got into CrossFit in 2009. Not long after that, opened our gym, which is Reebok CrossFit Frankston. That was in 2010. So I've been running that ever since, and kicked off my games career 2011 all the way through to 2019. So 7 years as an individual and 2 years on a team. Then COVID hit, and that's when I was like, okay, it might be time to hang up the boots and transition to a coaching role. So I've been mentoring and coaching Jay Crouch closely since 2016, and quite a few athletes within our gym, and also been running competitions from my gym and at fitness expos throughout the years, and had this opportunity come up last year to be part of the team for Down Under, and thought that would be pretty cool gig to jump in on, and that's where we're at today. So gym owner, coach, programmer, and also now in the event space. And I like to do some renos every now and then.
Nice work. Your screen's frozen.
That's me.
All right. We're dealing with a bit of admin here. We've never had two guests on at the same time. So
Yeah.
Lost you a little bit there, but you come back. You're good.
Oh, okay.
We got the audio. That's all good. Oh, no, how good, boys. Well, that's the background. We'll get...
What you need me to go back?
Nah, you're all right. We got the audio.
Do you need me to go back at any?
Your screen just froze,
Okay.
but we're back. No
Cool.
stress, man. Yeah, launching into the Down Under Champs then. So you guys weren't... Well, Rob, you say you joined last year. Andreas, were you there for the inception of the event, or have you've joined since it's been an event?
Yeah, I was there. I mean, the history of the event, it's had various names throughout the years. Like it was the old regionals, the old sanctionals. It's got a long history. Then I'm going to say it was 2019 when sanctionals came in. The regional director at the time, Mick Shaw, was, privatized it, and he's done an amazing job setting this event up, and it's got, like I said, that long history of really well run professional event, and that that emotion of Wollongong. He then COVID kicked in, and like everything in the world, just everything stopped. He's got a new family, and young family, and he's put his time in and just essentially handed over the reins to Mel and offered it to Mel. And then Mel approached Rob and I and said, "Hey, do you guys want to come in and jump on board?" So I was involved with the event from a rights holder. So obviously with Reebok, we did a lot of stuff back in the day. So understanding the commercial side and what brands and sponsors and so forth want to do. So that's just that was where my strengths and roles came in, and obviously Rob took over all the programming and the structure and the brains behind what happens on the comp floor.
Yeah, awesome, and a sick competition by the look of it as well. Obviously, we just view it from here over New Zealand. If I can ask, bro, what would the philosophy behind the event be? What are you trying to achieve with your event?
Look, we came into this, and like I alluded to just before, we're looking at this event in a different mindset. So having the likes of Rob come on board and understand the athlete side. What are athletes looking for in an event? Got to be well run, got to be well programmed. Everything's to time. Like, something we're really proud of last year was it ran to the minute. Yeah. Like, we structured this. There was no overflow. There was no running late. And again, hats off to Rob and his structure around doing that. Everything's timed well. Then we look at from a spectator and volunteers perspective, and this is where Mel steps in, and she's got a long history in this, in that community, and she knows a lot of people. Putting events like this on is really tough to find good people, and she's done that really well. I come in from that commercial background to understanding, what brands want, how do we make it work, and what makes sense.
Yeah,
everyone's got to report into someone. And it's generally the CFO that makes all the calls. So how do we work with the marketing managers and the brand managers to go, this is the perfect event for you. We want to make sure that we're delivering everything we can so you succeed. So we look at all of these avenues, and we make sure that they all work together and succinct. One doesn't wait over the other. And a big focus for us is bringing the fans closer to the action. We were really fortunate last year where we had some significant names come out, obviously the likes of Tia, who didn't compete for a good reason. Brought out some friends, Chandler and Noah. They were amazing. And it's giving the Australian and New Zealand communities a chance to, have a chat, get in touch with them in a really relaxed environment. Like, Noah and Chandler were just incredible. They would spend at least a minute on every single person that they met. And you might think it's just a minute, but when you've got 300 people lining up, that's a fair bit of time. So for us, it's making sure, like I said, we're not leaning on one area too much, but we're working everything succinctly, working with people, working with good people too. It's just, there are some really phenomenal people in the industry, and we love working with them.
Yeah. If I remember last year's event, definitely just going on Noah and Chandler, I think you can hear Jeremy conversing with Noah and they're sort of talking tactics on the upcoming events. It was quite funny. But what are some of I suppose, how do you get some of those big names over here? Because like you said, we want to grow a bit more awareness on the sport here in Australia and New Zealand. And we think a big success factor from that is getting games athletes, getting more people wanting to watch, even if it is international viewers. How do you go about getting games athletes to your events?
Well, we're very fortunate in terms of Rob spent a lot of time out the back with them. He was one, so we've already got that credibility.
Those relationships. Yeah.
It all comes down to that relationship.
So there's a lot of people that I've been in touch with for a long time, and same with Andreas, working for Reebok, having touch points with these high level athletes, and he's a very good person in terms of fostering or nurturing those relationships when there's no transactional benefit. So he's left Reebok, he kept those relationships going because he's a nice guy. and continues to be friends with everyone. Where
There's a
some
glitch
people aren't
again,
like
Rob.
that. And same deal with me, just kind of keeping in touch with as many people as possible, always running into them. And then when an opportunity like this comes up, then we reach out and see if they want to be part of it. And there's already that trust there. There's that relationship there. So it's kind of a no-brainer if it fits within their schedule. And a lot of the overseas athletes, they've always wanted to come over here, so it's a good excuse for them to come over and experience it. And that's a big focus of mine, is trying to make this a good experience and a fun experience, more of a laid back. Obviously, people get competitive and there's a competition, but that's why we went towards that team event, especially on the elite side. So, they can be relaxed, interact with the crowd. There's less on the line, less pressure. We can just go there and have fun. And those that want to start to make a name for themselves and be up there when there's a lot of eyes on them, there's an opportunity for those guys to then go in the individual division and get that spotlight put on them. And so kind of, it's what we've done is working well, and we'll continue to build on that.
Sick. Just touching on competition, do you view, so obviously not so much New Zealand, but Australia has some quite big well-known competitions, obviously you got Tour and Pro, yourselves. Do you view that as a detriment to getting games athletes to your event, knowing that they're going to the Tour and Pro anyway? Or do you see, it's good to have other big competitions around, and it only makes the whole sport stronger as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's another opportunity. Like Tour and Pro is different in the sense that everyone is working towards that. Like that's their kind of number one goal. They're going to narrow their focus, block out all distractions, not really interact with, say, the fans. And it's a different feel. It's a lot more serious, where those guys that are at the top of the sport, we're more trying to push them towards the team competition so they can have more fun and interact. And those probably like around 10th or below that top 5 might be pushing for the individual and trying to gain some more competition experience. So it still gives them that opportunity to get that competition experience and carry that into the Tour and Pro for the next year. So I think that's kind of how I see it playing out. And it definitely does. They work together. One's part of the game season, one's super serious and trying to, I guess, progress in the sport. The other one is an opportunity to learn and also have fun and enjoy the whole process and get the community together.
I think it's a good answer.
Yeah. Pretty cool to match up against these athletes that you see over at the games as well. It's a bit of an opportunity to do that.
Sure. Yeah. And they don't get that opportunity to be alongside Chandler Smith or Noah Olsen. And
that's very true.
Those kind of people, there's that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, awesome. I think, like you were saying before, it's a very well-run event by the look of it. And sort of just wondering how big's the team to run something so big with both an individual and a team competition running at the same time? What sort of team do you need behind that?
Andreas, you go.
I can break it down a little bit, or I can a full overview. So like I said before, we've got our 4 directors. We each play a vital role in bringing the event together in certain areas. Like I said, Mel's the resources and the volunteers and the staff and that touch point there. Scotty Williams is very much, he looks after all our vendors, making sure that they've got everything they need. Constant communication, like I said, Rob with the programming, and then myself with the commercial side, and then just kind of overseeing most of the rest of the day-to-day. Then under there, we've like I said before, working with good people. We've got rookie in there, so Jeremy Austin from a media backdrop or from a broadcast perspective, and John Michael Brick, who's also had a long history in the event too. They're essentially leading our media team. Under there is Kobe Head, who's the voice of CrossFit essentially for Australia. We spent a lot of time commentating various events. Then, we've got our team leads again that Mel has nurtured over the years and has built really strong relationships with. All in all, we put the event on with it's 170 volunteers.
Wow.
And it's a really interesting one when we talk about this event and anything to do with CrossFit. I don't know many sports in the world that have volunteers running an event. You've got the Australian Open and so forth, little things like that. But from a whole perspective, it's so refreshing to see that people just want to be a part of it. They just want to be close to the action. They want to put their effort in and do what they can, and it's really, really quite cool. So there are a lot of people and a lot of touch points and a lot of people that are involved. And like I said, everyone's just good people.
Yeah, it's definitely a community sport. Everyone loves to get involved, and I thought it was really cool that you guys put on a bit of a Q&A with the athletes last year. How did that one come about?
So it's that bringing fans closer to the athletes. When Tia said to me that she couldn't compete, and she was actually really disappointed. She wanted to bring her fitness and show Australia what she can do. And I said to her, I'm like, I actually see from a selfish event perspective, you're more valuable to us not competing than you are competing. And we saw that at the CrossFit Games this year as well. These meet and greets, it's an opportunity for the fans to actually have a conversation and learn about these people that they wouldn't usually. It's behind the scenes stuff. So when we had a pretty healthy roster of international athletes come out, it just made sense. And there were some funny questions in there. Obviously Justin and Ellie were dating and it's quite new. There was some, what are your intentions type thing. So we made sure it was very lighthearted. And it was, let's learn things about these people that you wouldn't see or learn in a normal setting.
Yeah, no, it looked pretty epic, definitely. Even Ricky coming back, his comeback season, and he did bloody well. And then, Justin and Ellie, and looked really cool.
Yeah, hard out. Sorry, excuse me. Just shooting it back to you there, Rob. I had a question on the programming. How do you program an event? Obviously, you've got world-class games athletes coming over. They're pretty fit, but you also need to put on a spectacle because you guys do get a lot of viewership as well. How do you go about programming something that's a good test, but also something good to watch? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, so last year I had the idea was let's go back to Wollongong, just because regionals was there for so long, and people have these experiences from there, and it will kind of get them excited to go back there again. So that was the first idea, and then I was like, let's repeat some previous regionals workouts. That was from last year, and I put some small tweaks and looking at them as a whole of what was cool to watch, what had some good races in there, and also trying to fit them in where they didn't clash against each other, which was quite difficult, getting some from one year and then some from another year and making sure there was kind of balanced across the board. So that was a little bit challenging. Where this year I'm starting with a clean slate, not repeating any workouts from previous years. So it's a little bit easier to, I prioritize how it's going to play out and how it is from a spectator point of view, and making each piece matter within an event. Not getting past the first movement or the first half, and then the positions aren't going to change from there on. So I want it to be interesting to watch from that perspective, that it's never over until it's over, and also easy to follow. So that's what I prioritize pretty high for this event. And then in terms of movements and being balanced, I find that that's pretty easy to do. I find the hard thing to do is trying to fit everything in, the scheduling, with so many different divisions. And but I start with the elite divisions and then kind of work down from there. So go elite individuals, then elite teams based off what equipment we're going to be using and what movements. And then we'll go to the Masters and Futures. The Futures is a new division we've put in, which is 16 to 19-year-olds to bridge that gap between teenagers and elite individuals.
Yep.
So that's what I found, especially on the boys' side or the men's side. There'll be a couple of years there where they drop off because they haven't found success, or they're used to being at the top and then they don't have that. The females can turn it over a lot quicker. And I saw this because I got a motocross background. They do that in motocross and supercross, have this 19 up to 19 years old to bridge that gap.
Yep.
So there's those guys, and then we've got our intermediate. So just kind of working down and scaling it back, but trying to give everyone an opportunity to be on the main stage and experience the same things, but at slightly different levels.
Yep.
That's the challenge, is doing that, and also our adaptive as well. So there's quite a bit to navigate and work through, but I like that challenge, and I like being precise with that and kind of testing.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot of work if you consider that you've also got the qualifiers as well. Do you prioritize doing all the qualifiers first and then move on to the actual main event, or do you just get it all done?
I go with the main event, basically what I want to do first, which that's what I mapped out first.
Right.
Not to the exact details in terms of rep schemes and stuff like that. I got like a rough thing, movements and how many events and what we're going to see. And then I'll do the qualifiers to make sure that we've got the right people moving on and aren't going to get to the final and just be standing there. They can actually get through and showcase their fitness based on what they did in the qualifiers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to do it. I'm just wondering, with your competition being in December, it's in the later half of the year, it's most of the athletes' off seasons, I guess. Do you take the fact that they're in off season into account when it comes to the programming?
A little bit. Like my goal is to not beat them up.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be a test of mental will and all of that,
right.
And breaking down their bodies. Like some of one or two of the events will definitely test them mentally, how hard they want to kind of push. But overall, I don't think it's going to beat them up. It's not going to set them back or anything like that. And especially having that team division, those that are a little bit more concerned, or, you know, there's more on the line because of they're higher up in they're at a higher level. They'll go for that team option, which is, you know, brings up the intensity, but then also lowers the amount of volume they're putting on the body. So, I think most athletes, where it's going to really matter for them, they'll be on the team side anyway. And like I said, the other guys that need more experience, they're going to have that, doing a 3-day competition, doing multiple events each day, and kind of just trying to tweak things in terms of how they would approach their workouts in terms of game plans and their recovery and all of that. Maybe they've got to work on their mindset and how they go about it based on what they did at Torian or other competitions. So it's giving them an opportunity to kind of build on their experiences and take that into the 2024 season.
Yeah, that's quite a cool tactical play, but watching the workouts, there's still plenty of room for individuals to shine, eh?
Yeah,
100%.
definitely. We did reduce the amount of individuals this year because, again, trying to fit everyone in was tricky. We added in that futures division. We didn't have that last year. So we've dropped it from 32 elite individuals to 24.
Okay.
Because we've only got room for 8 per heat. So we're running multiples of 8.
Yeah.
Hence the 24s and 32s. So it's going to make it more interesting to watch because you're going to have a more competitive field. But we kind of needed to do that to allow room for other divisions to come through.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that new division? I'm still pretty new to the sport.
Futures, which is 16 to 19-year-olds.
Okay.
So they're the future of the sport.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I had a question, Andreas, you might be able to answer this. you guys said before that you guys were a sanctional event, along with Tory and I think Aussie champs. How was the process when they switched from sanctionals back to this semi-final, well, regionals again, pretty much? Is there a bidding war, or do they just go, now Tory and Pro's getting it, or how did that go around? Because you go from you're sending people to the games to now you're just a marquee event.
Yeah, look, we can't really speak to that out of with a lot of confidence because we weren't involved during that. That was Mick that was running it. But what we do know is there is certainly a bidding process where you submit your event as wanting to be a sanctional or a semi-final now. They look at a few things, obviously the history of the event, how the event's run, a bunch of different criteria. So it's similar to the Olympics, not quite as big, but but the same kind of process. And look, the boys at Torian do an exceptional job.
100%. Yeah.
They do a really, really great job of what they do at running that event. It is hands down one of the best events, semi-final events on the planet, and one of the best events on the planet. For us, it was never about trying to become a semi-final event. We don't ever want to be. We've got our place in the market, and what we want to achieve is very different to what those guys want to do, and also the way that the events are set up. We're a licensed event, and that is really important. We've got a great relationship with the Australian and New Zealand CrossFit team with Ed, Lily, and Alice.
And Leah.
We're very strategic.
Don't forget the Kiwi.
And Leah, obviously. Sorry, Leah. Leah's great.
Yeah.
I like Leah a lot. Everything we do is very strategical. Like, everything's well thought out. It's not just kind of, let's just give this a crack. We look at it and go, what's the purpose of it and how are we going to do it? Setting our event exactly 6 months away from Torian is by design.
Yeah.
We were very transparent to them, saying, look, we've taken this over. We don't want anything. We're not trying to compete. We're trying to bring more spotlight and more emphasis to the region that will elevate us all. For the likes of kind of going back to the original question is, what they do and everything they deliver is, it ticks the CrossFit boxes for that sanction or that semi-final. Obviously they do a good enough job that CrossFit don't want to take it back. They took back North America and they took back Europe. They look at what those guys do and they're like, yeah, you guys are running a good job.
Yeah.
But then they ended up in a $2 to $3 million deficit. So
CrossFit
running those. Yes. So they're probably regretting their decisions.
I'm sure they
anyway.
They regret a lot of things.
I remember when they were trying to decide where they were going to take or who was going to have the semi-final. I got asked the question. They're probably doing the rounds, asking people, what's your favorite event in the region, blah, 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 trying to get a sense of who was going to get it. For me, I'd always dealt, like, Mick Shaw ran regionals since it started 2009 to 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. He ran it all those years. So I thought he was going to get it for sure, but it didn't. So there was obviously something that they put to the table. Maybe they wanted to change more of the spectacle side, because that's what those guys at Torian do really, really well. The whole experience and the spectacle and all of that. I have no idea what got him over the line, but it must have been something really good, because someone with that much experience working directly with CrossFit didn't get it. And they got it. So it was a surprise to me, but it was, and obviously hard for one person, but good for others, and it's been good for our region. It's been a good move, and they've done a great job since. So yeah,
definitely.
I think, like you said, there's a lot of room for both competitions and all competitions as well. We've got a few major ones over here, and it all works well together. Everyone goes to the competitions that they want to go to. Ends up being most of the same ones anyway. So this year's event, you've already touched on the programming and that. What's some cool things that you've done differently from previous years that they can expect to see this year?
If you want to let us in.
We're going to use more of the facilities. more of the Wollongong area
Right.
than what we've been able to or been allowed to. So been working closely with the venue to get access outside because they don't want to damage their precious turf. Now they've got other events on, which we've got to be careful not to obviously damage it where, they can't play soccer the next week or whatever else they've got going on. So last year we used the side, the hill. I'm not sure if you
That
guys
looked
saw that.
nasty.
Yeah, with the sandbags and it overlooked the beach. It was pretty cool. So trying to bring more of those kind of elements to it, but using the full facilities, because we disappointed some people in terms of not being able to see that very well, because you couldn't really fit many people in there for the amount of spectators that we had. So being able to use the grandstands for that outdoor field is obviously something that we want to be able to do and fix from that feedback last year. And like I said, use as much of the area, get the guys, especially from overseas, just to experience it and, build on those memories. And also from a marketing perspective, other athletes that missed out this year, they'll see it and go, that looks cool.
Yeah.
I want to go do that next year. So there's some tactics in terms of marketing as well for some of the events. So that's all I got to say.
All right. Take from that what you want.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty cool. You guys make it.
I think also just to kind of to emphasize also on the other stuff is one, what we want to try to do is bring the spectators into that realm of get them doing workouts. We'll have a community gym this year, so fans will be actually able to go and work out, do some activities. We've got all our partners will be running some workouts and so forth. And I took a trip to Waterpalooza this year just to go and check out how well they did it and what they did. Came back from that with a lot of good ideas, but also a lot of we probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Now we're revisiting and going, well, what's the benchmark in what we want to try to achieve? And the Australian Open tennis, something like that, where it's that fan engagement piece is just as important than what happens on the competition floor. Everyone that comes are CrossFit fans, fitness fans. So why are we focusing on having them sitting in the stands and sitting watching when we want them to actually do some workouts? We did some stuff with GoWOD last year, which was awesome. We'll grow on that more. We're working with the guys from Proven to bring more community workouts and fan engagement and volunteer workouts and stuff like that. So it's like Rob said, it's that engagement. It's that experience. We want people to walk away from that going, oh my God, that was amazing. Look at everything that we got to do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You're not just a spectator, you get to get involved as well.
Yeah. That's what the games did really well. Like, it was the first time this year that I was able to see everything else that went on at the games. Normally you're just stuck in a building, which is the warm-up area, and then you go out onto the floor, watch a heat or participate in a heat, then you're back in that room. So they had a lot of opportunities for the fans to go and work out, go and learn, sit in on talks or seminars. There was multiple areas you could go and train. So there was a lot going on, and bringing more of that to our event is something we're definitely working on doing. So we don't have people just stuck in their seat all day, just watching. It can be very repetitive watching the same workout play out over and over and over again. Having that little break and, going to do a GoWOD or going to get a workout in or going to learn something from someone at a stall. So just having that opportunity to, experience it all and not just watch the action on the floor.
Yeah, I think that's huge. What are you going to say?
I'm just we have asked this question to Dean Flood, and he gave us a pretty good answer, but you asked it the perfect way. So how spectators would go to watch the rugby, say, I guess you kind of answered it. How would you get more people? Like, is there anything that we could be doing differently from people who have been to the American games and they seem to do it pretty well? Is there anything super key that competitions in Australia and New Zealand should be doing to keep the spectators on site, to keep them involved with the event?
Yeah, I think it's that give them opportunities to do things.
Yeah.
It's that that shopping mall experience.
Right.
You go in there and there are so many things to do. If you limit what's available, then obviously you're going to limit what fans can do, and it becomes a little bit more transactional than emotional.
Right.
So we were quite conscious last year around the scheduling, going, well, we don't want to put a tier meet and greet right over like the adaptives, and we don't want to take people away. Reality is we're now at a point where things will overlap, things will clash, but it gives the fans the opportunity to make that decision.
Yeah.
We want them to make that decision of what they want to do, where they want to go, who they want to see, and give them options. Hey, I'm going to go and do my go what in the morning, then I'm going to go and do a workout, and then I'm going to watch, the Masters, and then I'm going to do some shopping. So it's giving people things to do and things to see, and not limiting those options.
Yeah, that's awesome. That overlapping. I was wondering why CrossFit did this at the games. They had that 5K that they wanted everyone to participate in, but they ran it during the elite divisions. And I was like, why would they do that if they want all these people to join in? Then I started thinking how many people were at the games, and that event that was on was in the Coliseum. And then I was understanding that not everyone had access to the Coliseum tickets. So it was actually an opportunity for them to do something, participate in something that was outside of the Coliseum, because that was something that they didn't have access to. Not that we're at that stage yet where we're selling out inside the stadium, and we need that. But like Andreas said, overlapping sometimes isn't the worst thing in the world, because some people might not be interested in what's happening at that point in time.
Yeah, true. And if you missed out last year, come again this year.
That's right.
You might not be selling them out, but it's something that we're conscious of over in New Zealand, is that Australia does do it a lot better of keeping people, just like the people go there just to watch the event or take part in the event or just be there. New Zealand definitely struggles with that. So I think we could take a lot of things away from how you guys run your events over here. Even like the rugby, we struggle to fucking sell out the rugby, and we're supposed to be pretty good at that. So, it's yeah, I think there's a lot of takeaways, and I think some really good points there as well.
Fully.
Easy as. We're aware you guys are busy, so we'll look at wrapping this up. But I did mention to whoever I was talking to that, Rob, you were going to write us a workout, and we were going to do it. We've been asking all our guests this. And with the event series, we've been wanting to maybe ask you to give us a workout that maybe you've wanted to program but never been able to, but also give us one of the online qualifiers in advance so that we can tease it. I'll leave it up to you, man.
The online qualifier thing, I can give you that at one of them at 5 a.m. on Monday.
Is that whenever it's released?
Melbourne time.
When everyone else
7 a.m. Kiwi time.
We knew someone was going to kick that.
I do have a workout for you.
All right, we'll take that.
This came to mind. I have wanted to put it in because when I come up with this workout, it was during lockdown, and I was like, how do I recreate the same feeling as an air bike, but without an air bike?
Okay.
This is going to be interesting.
Why would you do that?
I was like, how do I give everyone the same stimulus that doesn't have access to the bikes being in lockdown and blah, blah, blah. That's why I came up with this workout.
Okay.
And it hit just as good as an air bike, maybe a little bit better. But
awesome.
You have to approach it with the same intensity that you would as if you were doing an air bike sprint. So it's 3 rounds, each for time.
Yep.
15 burpee box jump overs.
Mm-hmm.
20 front squats.
What weight are we talking?
60-40.
Okay.
Cool.
Or it should be a weight that you can do the 20 unbroken.
So empty bar. Yep. Okay. Just carry on.
It's a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
And then 15 bar facing burpees. So it's 15 burpee box jump overs, 20 front squats, 15 bar facing burpees. And there's a 3-minute rest between rounds.
Cool.
All right.
3 rounds of 15, 20, 15 with a 3-minute rest.
All right.
Time cap?
When you got it done.
4 times.
Fair
Sweet.
enough.
It's supposed to be a sprint. So yeah, like I said, the weight on the bar should be a weight that you can kind of just be springing up and down and get you 20. I clicked on it because I had to search in Sugarwood. That's what we used to find this workout. And I was just reading through the comments and having a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
They're all like, nicely played, Rob. Like all these sick emoji faces on there. So I was like, yeah, this is the one.
Have you given that one a go yourself? You said you did it in lockdown?
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it I think I've done it twice actually.
Oh, nice.
I think I put it in like the next year because we were in lockdown again.
Yeah.
So we spent you guys too, spent a lot of time in lockdown.
Yeah, especially gym owners. Fucking hell, we were locked out for a while. There's a funny story. I actually met you just before the world lockdown. It was at the Australia Champs in Broadbeach. You were coaching Jay. Alex Smith was there that year. I actually have rather shamelessly, I got a photo with you as well on the beach.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Did you get your rig out?
On the beach?
Yeah, you would. I think they'd just done that flag event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on that little like deck part.
Yeah.
It was just in the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. If you tell him you remember that, he'll brag about it for ages.
I 100% remember.
I thought you did. Yeah.
Just somewhere on the beach, but I couldn't remember where.
Sweet. We'll clip that. We'll make it look. No worries. Look,
Sick.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for sitting down.
Yeah, thanks for your time, man.
Too easy.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Easy as.
Thanks for having us, and appreciate your time, and keep at it. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, 10 episodes in. Hey, no worries. Anyway.
Better every day. Let's do it.
Yeah, LSKD, thank you.
How good. Is there anyone or anything you want to plug or shout out before we?
Look, I'm going to probably just say just the usual guys. Like again, that thanks to all of the guys in the CrossFit space. Ed, Lily, Leah, Alice, just bringing this to life and just working with us, and the shameless guys like Alpha Fit, they've been amazing for us. Aussie company, that's long relationship with them, and they're just going above and beyond. So the guys at Wad Life have been incredible. They've supported us from the get-go. We've got Destination Wollongong and Sage Hotels locally as well. The stables like Fit Aid, Concept 2 have always been in the CrossFit space and helping, and the likes of Reebok kind of stepping back in this year, which is pretty exciting. So the shameless commercial plugs to them, but also all the vendors and so forth that we've got coming, which is great.
Yeah, man.
Just sprinkle those little in there.
I'd like to thank my mum and dad for always.
Cheers, the Fortes.
A legend.
Awesome, boys. All right, hey, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks again for sitting down, man.
Yeah, beauty. It's been awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Too easy. See ya, boys.
Cheers. Catch up.
Bye.